Kelly McCrimmon says Mitch Marner was VGK's number one target in free agency, and he will improve the Golden Knights tremendously. We have a recap of today's Mitch Marner introductory presser coming up next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick with this special edition from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. I'm a longtime sportscaster, a marketing and event consultant, and the host of Believe in Vegas and that new podcast. He is Chris Golick, and Chris is the owner of Silver State Cards and Sports and the collectibles editor of the Hockey News. Now, coming up on today's show, Mitch Marner is here in our backyard here in Vegas, and we have updates on Alex Pietrangelo. It's not good, and VGK's free agency updates as well. Kelly McCrimmon said improving the wing position was a priority for VGK after they got bounced from the playoffs by Edmonton, right? And so it appears as though they have filled that void with Mitch Marner, one of the best players in the game today. And Marner saying that he's excited to be here, said that the Golden Knights in Las Vegas was his number one destination. And McCrimmon said that the sign and trade gave VGK the 8th year of the deal contractually, which I thought was pretty interesting because he is signed at $12 million a year for 8 years. And if it was 7 times 12, it would not have worked under the salary cap. So I thought that that was pretty interesting. Yeah, they could have finagled the books. They could have cooked them a little too.
It's not that it wouldn't have worked. It would have made, because the Golden Knights have about that much available, give or take, right now. The issue is future players. I mean, that's a $1.7 million player that the Golden Knights would not be able to sign for the 25-26 season, so on and so forth, for every year of Mitch Marner's contract. You can only extend a player for up to 8 years when they come to you via trade in this circumstance, where if you sign someone in free agency, you only get them for 7 years max as well. So that's another reason. And Kelly McCrimmon alluded to the same things we talked about leading up to this. You asked a couple different times, why a sign and trade and not just simply wait until free agency? Well, the answer is that you don't know what's going to happen in free agency. A dark horse team comes out of nowhere. Someone's going to win the day, as Kelly McCrimmon stated. And you don't want Carolina saying, hey, 14.5 million, 7 years. Come on, let's go, Mitch. Come on over here. That's not the case at all. And it cost the Golden Knights Nicholas Waugh. Who cares?
Yeah, for sure. And Marner said that in making his decision to come to Las Vegas, he spoke to Ryan Reeves and Max Pacioretty, a couple of Summerlinites. I don't know. Sure. What do you call people that hail? Whatever they are. They hailed from Summerlin. But Rich. They talked about the way, that's right, the way of living, higher tax bracket for those folks. Yeah. But yes, the way of living here and schools, as they just have a newborn. But here, by year 8, he'll have an 8-year-old. So, yes, it does make a difference.
Crazy. It's funny you say it like that, because he was asked about how, growing into his new role, right, comes in the league as an 18-year-old. Now he's, a grown man, kid-ish kind of, but he's definitely grown up, and now he's coming to a team with a new level of responsibility. So it'd be fun to see how that aspect goes. And then from the personal side too, that's actually an interesting takeaway. He's holding his kid in his arm, and as time goes on, we'll see a little Mitchie. I don't know what the kid's name is. So I'm just assuming, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, to be honest with you, but I think it said son, right?
Yeah, son. It's a son.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but you'll see his son out there skating around and stuff, and we'll see that for years to come. I don't know if he's going to get on the Marchie family plan and have about 9 kids running around the locker room, but we'll see how things go with Mitch and his family.
Marner chose number 93. We saw that come out today earlier, the same number that he wore with the London Knights. And he did have a nice farewell to Toronto on Instagram. He said that he gave everything that he had to the city, but it just was not enough. And he said that he leaves the organization a different person than when he arrived. And I thought that was something. And I thought that we felt in this presser today, in this news conference, I saw a maturity in Mitch Marner. Maybe something that was unexpected.
I don't know I don't know what we expected him to do up there. I did not expect him to be professional. Maybe he exceeded expectations. But I mean, he's grown up a lot, right? And Toronto will do that to you. Toronto's a tough place to play. We joked at the last Battle for Vegas with Ryan Reeves about what it's like, what the Toronto media is like, and he started to basically allude to the Vegas media as being a little bit soft, but then he walked it back and made. I see you nodding over there. Then he walked it back and made the comments, oh, there's just more of them, more of the Toronto media and things like that. So,
oops, we missed the question today about an Eichel extension. No biggie. No biggie. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that I wish there would have been
go
something
ahead.
to Kelly about that. I know Kelly would not have commented on it, but it would have been interesting to see his reaction to it. And yeah. So Mitch definitely, you see a lot of maturity there. And I think, I don't know how he feels about how he left. And I know how his situation is and all that, but you wonder, just self-reflection time, new start, new beginning. You look in the mirror and say, okay, here's what maybe I could have done better when I was in Toronto, as far as my handling with the media, my handling with fans, whatever. He did make the mention about privacy too. I caught that, which was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, new beginning for Mitch Marner and his family, and it's going to be good to watch him grow and hopefully earn that Stanley Cup.
He said that he had wished that it worked out better there. Unfortunately,
that's fair. Nothing wrong with that.
He likes the winning aspect here. McCrimmon feels he'll fit in just fine. Already his teammates have reached out to him. He's in a thread with all the players now, and said that he learned
from line brawl and they go to Toronto. Are they going to pre-orchestrate that?
Let's do that. He said that he learned from Bruce Cassidy about the power play, especially in the Four Nations, when he was one of the coaches there, and that was Cassidy's specialty.
Yeah, 100%. I was going through some of my notes here. What I liked, Kelly McCrimmon, someone's going to have to shoot the puck.
Someone does have to shoot. No one asked how they're going to be set up, on lines and stuff. But
you're not going to get that this early. You got to get them on the ice in September and see how they react with one another. And I personally prefer seeing them on separate lines. But obviously, Coach Cassidy knows a little more about me. I'm doing pretty good in my coaching in my house league. I got a little growth to go, but I think Coach Cassidy knows the game a little better, and so he'll make the right call. And I mean, it's nice to have that arsenal. I didn't say like those tools in your tool belt. It's nice to have that arsenal where you have two potentially 100-point players at your disposal, whether you load up. And like, if you load up, one of them has to score 45, 50 goals. That's just how that's going to be. So that'll be fun to watch that play out. And then the power play, someone's going to have to leave power play one between, I can't imagine Dorofeev leaves, but it's going to be somewhere between Dorofeev, Stone, and Hurdle. I don't think Hurdle's going to leave, and I don't think Stone's leaving the bumper. So, and it's not Eichel or Theodore. So who knows? 5 forwards. You're out, Theodore. 5 forwards. Theodore, you're out.
Did you catch that? There was a tweet today by Luke Fox from Sportsnet. Marner hits scores the overtime winner against Sweden in Four Nations. The media gets a hold of Mark Stone, and he says, this guy gets a bad rap sometimes, right? And he goes, how do I word this? And then there's a pause, and then he comes back. I would take him on my team any day.
Stone said that?
Stone said that.
Wow.
I thought that was a classic there. But a new opportunity and a new fresh start for Mitch Marner here in Vegas. And he's excited about it.
He's excited about it. And just a couple things that I caught on McCrimmon's side. Toronto approached Vegas at the trade deadline trying to move Mitch Marner.
Why are you so surprised about that?
I'm not surprised. It's kind of a surprise.
Because you thought VGK would have tampered. Okay, go ahead.
No, not that. But like the Carolina situation doesn't work out. So Mitch's wife, pregnant, 7 or 8 months pregnant at the time, didn't want to leave the city, at least not Carolina, a place where he knew it was temporary if he went to Carolina in his words, whereas he felt Vegas would be permanent if he came here. So a lot of good stuff came out of that presser, and so much more to unpack. We'll save maybe some for Thursday's show, including McCrimmon squashing the trade rumors of Hurdle and Carlson with some colorful language.
Coming up next, an update on Alex Pietrangelo. And we'll talk about that. Not good news as we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, you've got golf on the greens, you've got the NBA Summer League coming here to Vegas, you've got VGK, as we said yesterday, a 10-1 odds to win the cup. If you like that, you better get down on that pretty soon. And you're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? Put a little bit more sauce on those games. With FanDuel, you can get in on a game while your friends are getting sunburned at the Ultra Pool. FanDuel, again, is my favorite way to track matchups. The app, it keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, makes even regular season games feel like they are must-watch events. So, right now, if you are new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com, as you see on the screen, /lockdown to get started. Again, it's FanDuel.com /lockdown to get started today at America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. No more Knicks at night, but we do have Locked On Golden Knights at night.
What is Knicks at night? What is that?
Well, the two Knicks are gone. Somebody called him Roy today. And Haig. Nick at night, Knicks at night. Okay.
Golden Knights down to plus 850 on FanDuel, by the way.
Okay. I knew you were looking that up.
Down. No, I thought it might have gone down. I was just guessing, but yeah.
It went down to plus 850. So you better get into that soon if you like that bet. So Kelly McCrimmon says it's unlikely Alex Pietrangelo will be playing again ever due to injuries. Ron Futrell asked him the question in today's presser, and McCrimmon, he said, yeah, will he be on LTIR this year? And McCrimmon comes back and says, I don't think he's going to play again. And then Ron Futrell says, you're going to pay him still, right? And he goes, yeah, of course, he's under contract. And plus they need to put him on LTIR. But right now, Pietrangelo's hips require bilateral femur reconstruction. And I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. And it's something thank you, brother. Bilateral femur reconstruction, Dr. Golick.
No, so it's not funny. That's the wrong word to use, but
odd.
Someone
strange.
Posted a picture of this on social earlier today, and while I don't know exactly what this is, if I'm looking at this right, and our Dr. John Strickland can maybe give me a comment in DM, and I can read this tomorrow or something, but it almost looks like they're putting rods in it as hips and stuff, and this is not good, whatever this is. So, yeah, this sucks. I mean, I don't have a better way to say that, unfortunately, but it also gives you an idea of what Pietrangelo has been dealing with. Not likely just this last, few months, but what this last, 17 years of being an NHL player, a pro athlete, has done to his body. And I think he's at the point now where, I mean, maybe he could come back from this. Maybe he could work his way back to this, but you wonder what the long-term effects are, what the risk is. So now it's the decision of, okay, get out now while you still have, a productive time left use. You can go and get this fixed at least to, enjoy the rest of your life without having to risk, using a cane or a wheelchair at age, 40 years old, because his body's just going to at one point give him the finger and tell him no. So he's taking this as a sign right now, and good on Alex. And one thing I was looking at is trying to figure out how a retired player can affect the salary cap, because McCrimmon's not going to say retired, and that's a key in all this. That's very interesting.
He was very cautious, very important. Yes. He did not say he's done. He just said he won't be playing the next couple of seasons. And Pietrangelo had said that he wants to remove the intensity of hockey to see if he can improve so that he can return to normal life. That's 100%. How bad this is. Well, they said it's more than one surgery. So it's surgery. So it's probably both hips. And then again, once you're favoring your hips, there's complications to your knees, your ankles, your body. Other parts of your body give out if you're favoring. something with one of your hip injuries.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know where to go with it besides the fact that, yes, and if your right leg is bothering you and you start favoring it, you can cause an injury to your left leg or anywhere else on your body and everything. And you just wonder how much he's been fighting and how much pain he's been in. There was never a direct quote from Alex after the season about this as far as what he dealt with. And it's because he's just who he is. He doesn't want to make an excuse for why his play wasn't at the level where he would have liked it to be and what he went through. And, there should have been a sign maybe that there was something really bad going on during the Four Nations and ailments. Well, this is a little far from an ailment. This is a heck of a lot worse than that.
Yeah, that's what he said, an ailment. And how will VGK compensate for the loss? I know that McCrimmon was talking about Korzak, and he said Pietrangelo even told him in their recent discussions that Korzak was ready to take a step up. And Zach Whitecloud, according to McCrimmon in today's presser, he said that he will move up the lineup. So what's going to happen there? We'll talk more about some of the free agency updates and what's going on with the Blue Liners. But what are your thoughts?
Starting with Korzak, you've seen a lot of good. There was a couple of games. I can't remember if it was one of the playoff games or what it was, but there was a couple of times when he looked behind the eight ball a little bit. But again, when you go from being the seventh defenseman, and really the Golden Knights blue line was pretty solid last year as far as injuries went. Ben Hutton's lack of play will tell you how healthy they were. If Hutton, the eighth defenseman, isn't getting out there a lot, that tells you that's a pretty decent season on the health front. So Korzak looks like he's ready to go. He has a nice offensive mind, while he seems to have the developing mind of Braden McNabb as far as McNabb's stay-at-home ability and being that responsible defenseman who's not going to, take the same type of rush opportunities like a Shea Theodore or a Pietrangelo would. And you're never worried. I think there's a sense of comfort when your goalie sees Korzak out there or McNabb out there for that matter. They're both going to be back. They're going to do their job. They're not going to get caught out of position too often. And it'll be nice to see Korzak grow. And potentially, again, we got free agent updates to talk about. You think you're going to imply that there's something else happening down the road. So Korzak might still have to wait another year. Who knows? But as of now, it's all systems go for Korzak, and see if Ben Hutton can crack the lineup next year at all. Poor Ben.
Again, on Pietrangelo, back to him. The past few years, he said, have been very challenging on my physical well-being, and I am in a difficult position with my overall playing health. After exploring options with doctors as well as my family, it's been advised to remove the intensity of hockey to see if he can return to a normal quality of life. And then he said the decision has been difficult to come to terms with after the last 17 years of competition and the camaraderie with my teammates and coaches. So again, he said the likelihood is low that his body will recover to the standard required to play, but I know this is the right decision for me and my family. But again, you've talked about his leadership and that quality in the locker room that's going to be missed. And then the camaraderie. That's something that players often talk about, especially those in the twilight of their careers where they're sort of hanging on because they like that camaraderie and being around the boys, being around the fellas every day.
That's all you know. I mean, some of my best hockey memories and even current hockey memories them developing happen in the locker room before and after the game. Whether it was the team that I coach or the games I'm starting to personally get back into. Just that when you're with the adults now, when you're with the adults, that ball busting and everything and all that stuff, it's a lot of fun. And with the kids, it's kind of fun just sitting back watching them kind of develop their games and everything and their relationships with the players and them talking before the game about the game and everything. Just a couple quick things here real fast. AI giving me this here. When a player retires, their contract, if has remaining term, continues to count against the cap. This means the team will not receive immediate cap relief unless the contract was signed after the player turned 35. Not the case here. However, if a player retires after turning 35 and the contract was signed before that age, the team will still be charged the full cap it for remaining years. I don't know how old Pietrangelo is right now. I don't know if he's 35.
Yeah.
Alex Pietrangelo right now is 35 years old on the head. Yeah. So this is, So point being, this is why it's LTIR and not an outright retirement right now.
Coming up next, we've got VGK free agency updates. Don't go away right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Yeah, he finally hit the post, as we say in the radio world. Thanks for making us all you know is the only post you know is post time with the ponies. Don't forget Fridays, WTF days, Saturdays.
Harness,
sometimes
baby, harness, buggies. Come on.
The Chris Times Chris Jr. show. So free agent moves. What's VGK doing bringing back Dylan Coghlan and Jacob Magna? Coghlan, 21-22 season with the Golden Knights. He did play in 59 games this past season, 6 games with Winnipeg. He was mostly with one of my favorite named teams, the Manitoba Moose of the AHL. And then Magna signed to a 2-year deal. So 2 players. Oh, by the way, Coghlan, for you trivia buffs, first Golden Knight defenseman to score a hat trick on March the 10th.
That's right.
Of 2021 against the Wild, right?
It was against the Wild, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bizarre game. So real fast, one, they needed that right-handed stick for the home run derby at the Battle for Vegas. Coghlan is the best VGK softball player.
Oh, he can rake. That's right.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal.
So
get
him
the gloves
and
ready
Marner,
out left field.
Him and Marner, I'm gonna bet on VGK this year.
There you go. All right, so your top 6 this moment: Theodore, Hannafin, McNabb, Whitecloud, Lawson, and then Korzak. As far as your next men up, so to speak, Hutton, Magna.
Oh, don't hurt my man Hutton. Come
on. Coghlan. Those are some combination.
How many's that? 9?
That's 9. My assumption, because reading the McCrimmon leaves. There you go. Reading the McCrimmon leaves.
Please, no tea leaves. I can't.
So Kelly said the team wants to go with 7 defenders.
Yeah.
In the presser.
Yeah.
So what's likely going to happen is Magna and Coghlan are going to be waived with the intent of reporting to the American League. Now, someone can still pick them up in that process, but when you put that little extra designation on there, they usually make it through to the American League. So I would assume Magna and Coghlan wind up starting in Henderson, and then they're the next men up if something happens. Now, not being on a 2-way contract, that could get tricky if they come up in a spot start, because then they'd have to get waived when they go back down, and someone could claim them then. Who knows? But that's the likely path, assuming what you're about to say next.
Well, I just believe, again, that they're trying to clear some space for another name free agent. Byram and
Byram be nice.
I mean, when you're looking, and Rasmussen, those 2 players come to mind immediately. And when you have a Rasmussen who says he wants to play in Vegas, and Bowen Byram, like on his list, he's got Vegas and more Vegas. And so that would make a huge difference with this defense. And they'll have 2 players that they can give up. They, again, just sort of mentioned Ben Hutton, who's been so solid in my mind. Do something with him. And either it's going to be Rasmus Anderson or Bowen Byram. One of those 2, I think. They're taking swings right now. I know McCrimmon said he's done, but trust me, they're out there.
McCrimmon's never
done. He's not done. Summer's kind of slow. 3-4 days after free agency quiets down. No, they're going to try to get better. And again, the loss, I think, of Pietrangelo still concerns this team. I have to believe, or 100% Pietrangelo.
So let's go off a few things Kelly said. They really wanted to improve on the wing. Okay, fine. They got a 100-point player. Check that box. What are you going to trade Buffalo or Cal, insert pause, Gary, to get Anderson or Bo Byram? Bo Byram, 24 years old, RFA, $3.85 million cap hit. That number will go up on his next contract. Rasmus Anderson, 1 year left at 4.5 with the Flames. So now you have to trade from. It has to be a winger at this point, right? So or this is where Carlson or Hurdle get traded. That'd be even funnier. But Barbashev is the only name left, $5 million. That would cover each of the players at least for one season. But now do you want to go like that? Because Barbashev should be on one of the top 2 lines coming out of camp. Kelly did mention he feels good about where the team is at, and particularly feels good where the blue line is. And he did give the biggest vote of confidence to Akira Schmidt also in that. But
No,
we'll hit that,
yeah,
maybe save
we
that
need
one
to
for
hit
another
that.
one.
No,
But
he did
yeah,
not.
it
He had
wasn't
that
bad,
long
but it
pause.
wasn't
No,
like,
no, it was not an overwhelming vote of confidence.
No, I mean,
And
we can say we can do an episode about what's the weakness on the roster, and spoiler alert, it's going to be the goaltending position.
yeah, but so with Rasmussen, right? You have to figure
Rasmus Anderson. You're
yes,
combining Rasmus and Anderson into one name.
Rasmussen. I called him whatever I called him. Okay, so Rasmus Anderson, whatever. I just make up names, as you know, on the show.
It's like
But if
Mick
you go,
Lovin. Call him Mick Lovin. There you go. He's
okay,
Mick Lovin.
if you sign him, you're helping out Cal Gary, right? Because that's where he's at, right? Because he's going into his final year. And again, in free agency, there's no assurance they're going to get any return. It doesn't appear as though he wants to go back based on their initial discussions. So you got to get something out of it, as was proven in the Toronto deal.
There's one thing we learned, and it starts when the Golden Knights traded Marc-Andre Fleury to the Chicago Blackhawks for a prospect that got cut within a week after the trade happened. Leverage is a heck of a drug in the NHL. So what I'm saying is the Golden Knights had to trade Marc-Andre Fleury because of the Robin Leonard acquisition. There was no money left and his extension that he received. There's no money left. Fleury has to go. So Blackhawks say, fine, we'll take on the salary, whatever. Blackhawks flipped him, I believe it was a first or a second round pick that same season, if I'm not mistaken, to the Minnesota Wild. So again, leverage. So Anderson and all this chirping is hurting the Flames situation right now, because the Flames are going to want to get something from him. They're not going to want Nicholas Waugh. They're not going to want whatever the equivalent is. They're not going to want Colton Sissons right now. They're going to want that. They're going to want Barbashev. They're going to want a prospect. Oh yeah, trade a prospect. There you go. But there's no money left. That's the only problem. So point being is Kelly McCrimmon's going to, okay, I got one more in me. Let's see if we can find a way here. And he's going to, sprinkle some magic dust on something, and off we go. You get Anderson in Vegas, and I don't know if it's going to be that easy. Like I said, right now the Golden Knights, and this doesn't even include Coughlin, although he's probably not going to count anyway against the roster. But as of this second, the Golden Knights are minus 7.6 on the cap. Alex Pietrangelo is not hitting LTIR yet. That's 8.8. 8.8 minus 7.6. It's 1 point. It's actually 1.1 and change the way it is right now. So
okay,
if you can find a way to make a Bo Byram and a Rasmus Anderson appear out of that, then McCrimmon's better than he's better than any of us ever thought.
I call him Byron Bowen too, but
Call him Bo.
So Cole Reinhardt was signed by VGK to a 2-year deal, 17 games with Ottawa, mostly in the AHL, and 4 years, of course, with the Brandon Wheat Kings. Can never leave them, out of this equation. So that's where that relationship comes from. Bad news for VGK. Tanner Pearson's gone. We liked him a lot. He's gone to Winnipeg. He gets $1 million for a 1-year deal. So good for him.
Good for him. Yeah,
he's extending his career. Yeah, he proved himself, right? More than proved himself here.
100%. Pearson, it's we're not going to lose a lot of sleep over it, but good on him for what he accomplished here. And he's extending his career. He's extending his income and everything. And definitely nothing wrong with that. And Nate Schmidt to Utah. I thought that was interesting.
Utah, yeah.
No Nosek staying in Florida.
No what?
Tomasz Nosek staying in Florida.
I thought you said something else. Okay. Yeah, that came out the wrong way. We appreciate everyone
in the wrong way.
Especially our everydayers. Thank you so much. No swearing on this show, please.
Don't
be a Kelly McCrimmon. Don't be a Kelly McCrimmon.
That was awesome. That's a whole segment in itself, too, on Thursday. What day
it melted down a little bit. Yeah, this is what?
He might be watching our podcast for a couple days, Tony.
You were spelling out bad words yesterday. Don't forget on Friday.
Sorry, Kelly.
WTF Day. What the Friday, Saturdays, sometimes the Chris Jr. show. And again, we couldn't do this without our everydayers. And thank you so much. We appreciate all the fans worldwide, including the Maple Leaf fans who've been great. They've been good.
They've been great supporters. Let's go, Toronto.
Yeah.
Tell us how
we're
much you
rooting
hate us
for-
in our comments because
I'm-
you're not
I'm
doing
rooting
it
for-
enough already.
I'm rooting for Nick Roy. From a man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Vegas. See you again tomorrow right here on Lockdown Golden Knights. Please take care.